epic conversation. So y'all already know the premise. I've been breaking down the Bible from beginning to end, demonstrating the difference between our Father and Creator and the being that's called the Lord. And I got all the way down to the Tower of Babel. I don't have my book with me this morning. I'm out here in front of this gym trying to wait on this rain to slow down a little bit. But since I'm waiting, I figured I'd drop one because I wanted to touch on some. It's a couple things I want to touch on that Tower of Babel. The confusion. The reason for the confusion was the Lord, who is Satan, didn't want people to take notes. He didn't want people to be able to compare notes about their experience. All of the world had one language. Just picture this. Everybody in the world had one common language. So all information could be readily shared. And they had come together to do something great. And one thing, if especially like a dude that's lying to a lot of girls, he don't ever want them to come together and compare notes. Cause then that's how they gonna catch him in the lie. Cause he told me this, well, he told me that. Well, he told me this, that, and the third. And now they got the confrontation. Hey, what's up with this? You told me this, and you told her that, and you told her this. Which one is it really? And so, yeah, real talk. Like, let me come down here and confuse their language, so they can't compare notes about their experience. But also, after the Tower of Babel, I got into Abraham and Sarah, and I exposed some things, and we're gonna get into the same thing with Isaac and Rebecca. I also this is what I want to touch on, what started this. And I touched on it before, but I gotta give it to you, man. Just really, I used to believe like everybody else. I used to be a Christian. And I was a born again believer, whatever, however you want to term. I believe the same thing. I went to prison for 10 years. I did 10 years in TDC. Walked down through Ferguson Unit, Gladiator Farm, Pulaski and Telford. That's why I know that boy Anthony Dewberry. What up, Dewberry, baby? That's where I know him from, man. We was in college together. But I still was a Christian after I got out of prison. I knew Muslims. I had studied Islam. I had a Quran. But I still was a Christian even after doing 10 years in prison. It wasn't until after I got out, I backslid. I was selling dope. I got back into selling dope. I was selling dope in South Dallas. I was also hustling out my house. I lived in like West Dallas, not West Dallas, like Cockrell Hill on Jefferson. If y'all not from Dallas, you won't know. Yeah, I had a house over there, and me and my partner was hustling in South Dallas. He had a couple apartments, and we used to be over there hustling over there. He had a couple apartments and a house, matter of fact. And I started feeling bad though. We was selling cocaine, crack. We was selling weed. And I got tired. I ain't gonna say I started feeling bad about what we was doing. I started feeling bad looking at what it was, the dope fiends, the customers, the crack addicts, the cocaine addicts. I started feeling bad about how it was affecting them. Then my dad had started smoking. May he rest in peace. But he said he had started smoking while I was in prison. So being that it hit me like up close and personal, also that also made me like feel, because I had told myself I wasn't gonna never sell dope again. I went to prison for robbing people, selling dope and robbing people. I told myself I wasn't gonna never do that stuff again, but I found myself doing it anyway. And at first I didn't really have no conscience. I was on some revolutionary shit, like these hoes, they owe me. They owe me, and fuck these laws. I can't get no job. Fuck it. I'm finna get out here. And I was out there. I had workers. I had a worker in Balk Springs. I had a worker in Euless. Things was going. And we had a workhouse where the customers would buy the dope and they'll smoke inside, and we had the big house where we'll be chilling, and whenever the workers ran out of work, they'll come get some more to go back over there to the smokehouse with the smokers. And I'm coming out, and it was a lady sleep outside on the ground. It was cold. It was like November. It does get kind of cold in Dallas, believe it or not. And man, she would sleep outside the smokehouse. And any other time I wouldn't have cared. I would have just stepped over this woman and kept going. But this night I was like, man, this ain't right. So I say, why you out here asleep? She said they put me out because I ran out of money. You ain't got no more money. You ain't spend nothing. You can't sit up in there and smoke up everybody crack. So they put out. She in that sleep. She out there asleep. So I tell her, man, I said, let you back in there. And go on in there and go to sleep. Get out this cold. And I went on to my car. I get to the gas station. Nah, I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian since this night that I'm talking about. I get to my car and I stop at McDonald's. I got an Angus mushroom burger. This is my last meat meal. I got an Angus mushroom burger from McDonald's. The meal. And then I went across the street to the gas station to give me some gas. So it's a smoker at the back. Well, you know what I'm saying? I assume he a smoker. He at the pump. He say, man, can you give me a couple of dollars? I'm hungry. Since I assume he's a smoker, I tell him, man, I'm finna put my money in my gas tank, but this food I got, I give you half this food. He said, that's a bet. So I gave him the money. He went and paid for the gas and came back. And while he went to pay for the gas, I prayed, I gave thanks for my food, and I broke it in half. Dig the correlation. You know what I mean? I took the bread, I took the food, and I blessed it, and I broke it in half. I call this my communion. I think every human being is going to go through this in some form of fashion in your life. This is mine. So he come in, he get his half, and we eating, he gas pumping, and he started running. He like, hey man, something coming over me. He started quoting scriptures to me. And the scriptures that he quoting to me is, he say, man, this stuff just coming to me, man. And as he quoting these scriptures and they just flowing from him, he say, man, something gonna come to you. When it do, don't doubt it. So he stuck in my head. Some of the scriptures that he was saying stuck in my head. So when I got home, I opened the Bible and I read them. And it took me all the way back. I ended up going all the way back to Genesis chapter 1, but I understood it in a way that I never had before. And I felt the love, the all-encompassing love of our Father in his creation, not just for us, but for his creation. All of it. Love. I felt the love. A part of it. I also felt like a weight come on me. And I felt so heavy, it felt like I was going to sink through the floor. I just felt like I was just so heavy. I can't describe it to you, but it felt like I would literally sink through the floor. I was so heavy. That's what it felt like. And then I felt contrition. I felt remorse for the things I done. I done some horrible things, and I felt bad for it in a way that I had never felt before. Like it felt like I felt the pain that I caused other people. Like I experienced what I did from their shoes, and I felt ashamed and bad for the pain that I caused a creature that my Father loves so much. Yeah, I felt real guilt. Now it broke me down to my knees. Tears. I cried tears of remorse and repentance. And asked forgiveness and repented. And since then, I have done my best not to cause pain, to cause people to suffer. I don't eat meat anymore because I understood the Genesis chapter 1 and why. He gave us a vegetarian diet. He gave us a diet to where nothing has to kill or be killed to live. I am a witness too that since I've been a vegetarian, I'm rarely sick. I just turned 41 years old on the 19th, and I feel great. I feel, I got a lot more strength. Just healthier overall. My skin, my everything. It's been good. And it's the diet that our Father gave us. I became a vegetarian because when I read in Genesis chapter 1, and he said, I give you trees and vegetables, this to you shall be for meat, it hit me. The why. It's because I don't want you to have to kill my creation to feed yourself. So I don't. I don't. But so after this, and I also understood that the difference between our Father and his work and the Lord and his work. Because when I got to chapter 2 this very night, when I got to chapter 2, verse 4, and I began to read the work of the Lord, I knew it clicked. That's the adversary. That's Satan. It's showing me about who Satan is. Then I had to thank him again for opening my eyes and showing me. And you know what? Where I messed up is after this came to me and I began to get confirmation that this was true. Confirmation. I would tell people, I remember telling, immediate people in my circle around me, and they thought I had lost my mind. But it came in stages. It didn't all come. Once that first understanding came, I began to read the Bible in its proper perspective from beginning to end, and I saw it all. Then I began to do research, and it confirmed the things that came to me. I'm going to also tell you this. 2 times I have seen people's eyes go completely black. I mean, like no white, you got the white part. I mean, I saw their eyes go all black. They were not angry. They weren't mad. We was having a regular conversation. Both times they were women. Both times we was on church grounds. I bear witness. I'm here to give my testimony to you right here. I saw their eyes go completely black. We was having a normal, regular conversation. And when it happened, I told myself I got to be tripping. I am not seeing this. I closed my eyes for a second, like a real slow blink, and opened them again. They were still black. And when that person, I don't know, like it just was for a little while, for a few seconds. And then that person, enough to show me, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then the person blinked and their eyes was back regular. We was having a regular, normal conversation. And I didn't like let off like, whoa. And they wasn't evil people. They wasn't doing that. One lady, I was complimenting her car. She got a new car. And I was saying, hey, that's a nice car. You know what I mean? Whoop, whoop, whoop. She was like, yeah. And she was telling me about it. And while she was talking, it just whoop for a second and it went back. The other time I was at my house, but my house was like right in the same lot as this church. Like I used to come out of my house and walk around the church grounds when nobody was there. I'm talking to this chick, man. We just having a little smoke session, and as she's talking, same thing. Her eyes went black completely. I want to say, but this is right around the time when the revelations, I call it the revelations, because the book of Revelation actually reveals all of this. It is actually revealing to you, but it's from a spiritual perspective. It's like telling it from the spiritual realm. So it is not necessarily confusing. You just have to, if you don't read it in a proper perspective, you'll miss it. But that's the reason for the spiritual realm is real, y'all. And I ain't talking about no spooky hocus pocus stuff. I don't understand what I saw. I don't understand if it was, I felt, like, whoa. But like I said, the conversation wasn't evil. As far as I know, they weren't evil. They had never done me no harm. But this was right around the time that I started waking up to who Satan is, who the Lord is, that he called himself the Lord here. And that we worship him like he said we would. But I had to bring that, man. Kind of let y'all know from when we go into the spiritual realm, we sometimes I think we be in fairy tale land, and we really be thinking, the clouds gonna part and the angels gonna come down, singing or whatnot. And a lot of the spiritual realm is inside. The kingdom is inside of you. It's in, these things take place within us. Our mind is infinite. Our mind is how we are like God. Our mind is where we go to connect with our Father, to talk to him. From here, you don't even have to have a mouth to talk to our Father and be understood and heard. It's a place without a body where, the body ain't necessary and the cares of it ain't necessary. So time is also, we measure time by the rising and setting of the sun for our body's sake, to keep track of our time on this earth, our period on this earth, and that we are decaying. We are all going to die. But without a body, you live on. And the prophecy is that we would worship the adversary, Satan, and we will worship him through someone, the beast. And so you have to worship the Lord through Jesus, who I showed already, is the beast. It's a trip. The physical worship of any person is backwards, because we are the creme de la creme. We are the highest authority in this world. It's nothing here for us to bow to. No. Our Father gave us this realm. So the worship of a person and making this person our master is the opposite of what our Father told us to do. If our Father told us to rule, and instead we turn around and give it all to Jesus and make this person our master, we just did the opposite of what our Father told us to do. But yeah, this is epic conversation. And so when you read it in its proper perspective, as I'm going to continue when I get back to my book, it'll be easy to understand how you have been deceived if you were introduced to the book from the gospel, which most of you were. And I'm aiming at Christians. I'm shooting at Christians. I'm coming for y'all to wake y'all up. Because I believe if I can reach a Christian with this message, because I'm not trying to take you away from Christ, trying to introduce you to Christ, the light of the world, the Spirit. I'm trying to take you away from the person, Jesus, and bring you to Christ, the Spirit. So that's why I say I address the Christian because of your name. You all are already saying that you are one that will accept Christ. But then you don't, and you also say that you understand the story that of the sacrifice that must take place when Christ comes. But that's your sacrifice that you must make of yourself, and it start at the place of the skull. Because it's a decision to let first for Christ to be identified, who Christ is, what Christ is, and then decide to let him in. And once you decide to let Christ in, it is a sacrifice that you giving up the way of the flesh. And you from that point on commit to walking in the Spirit and living this life from a spiritual perspective, from the Spirit first, to the best of your ability. This has nothing to do with a person. And that's why Jesus is unimportant. Even listen, in the Bible, in the book, there are only 3 years of Jesus' life that's talked about. This person was 30 years old when he began his ministry, when he began to preach and teach from the age of 30 to the age of 33. Those first 30 years of his life are unimportant, irrelevant. The only part that's focused on are the part where he accepted Christ. When the Spirit came down and the voice said, "This is my son." when that's the part that's recorded and talked about, what he did when his Spirit entered into him. And it's the Spirit that's important. It's the Spirit, this Spirit, and the recognition of it, that's the whole point of the story. Christ. not the person. His first 30 years, we didn't even. But when the spirit came, boom, the story kick in, because it's about the spirit. And instead of us focusing on, we think that the spirit came from Jesus, or the spirit is Jesus in the flesh. No, the spirit is Christ and was Christ before Jesus existed, and was always Christ, will always be. And it manifests on us. It manifests on human beings if we accept it, if we allow it to. But we end up focusing on the person instead of the spirit. Let me get to it. Get up in here and hit this gym and get my grind on. This is Epic Conversation. Something to think about. Peace.